Are we live? It looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Asylum. I'm your host, Gabriel. I hope everyone had a really great day. And AEW Dynamite was tonight, and this was a really good show. But the main event, though, the main event, holy shit! Oh my god. Okay, so AEW Dynamite was tonight, as always, and of course, the main event tonight was Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker in a unsanctioned lights out match. And holy shit, what a match! Like, I don't even know where to explain with this matchup. Like, oh my god, this okay, now I don't want to give away all the details. Like, obviously, I'm going to review the entire show tonight, and I'm going to talk about the main event, in detail later on in this review. But my God, both ladies absolutely killed it. All I got to say is bravo. Bravo to both Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker because both ladies absolutely killed it. Like I'm going to explain it later on in this review, but without further ado, you know how this works. Let's get this review underway. So, overall, I thought this was a really good show tonight. Like, it wasn't like one of those like great shows, like, oh my god, this was an amazing like special show, because this was like a special show tonight, because in case you guys don't know, today is St. Patrick's Day. So AEW decided to do like a little special called AEW St. Patrick's Day Slam tonight. And like, I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of a weak show tonight. The first hour of this show was kind of weak. Like, obviously, not everything in the first hour was bad. Like, there was things here and there that I like. But the second half of the show definitely picked up. And trust me, we will get to the main event. Okay? Because this main event was incredible. And it needs its own section of the video, because I'm telling you, both Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa absolutely killed it. But without further ado, enough of me rambling. Let's get on with this review. So we start off the show with MJF and his new group consisting of Shawn Spears, FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood, and Warlord, as they literally get off a plane and literally drive to the arena in a limo. So basically this MJF's new group is literally like, they're basically entering the arena like the Four Horsemen. So basically MJF's group is like giving like away some like Four Horsemen vibes, which I really like. So nothing too crazy there, just a small thing to start off the show. And after that, we got our first matchup of the night between Cody Rhodes and Cielo Miedo Pentagon Jr. or Penta El Cielo Miedo, whatever you want to call him. I'm still going to call him Pentagon Jr. And okay, like, don't get me wrong, this was a good match. This was a good match. I will say that it was slow here and there, but I'm not gonna lie to say, I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't enjoy this match, because I did. I thought this was a really good matchup, but I did not like the ending. So basically, the ending is okay. So Pentagon Jr. did like the arm thing, like, you know, if you guys watch Lucha Underground, where Pentagon Jr. like breaks like people's arms. Basically, Pentagon Jr. did the same thing to Cody Rhodes. He did like the little arm maneuver, try to break Cody Rhodes' arm, and like Pentagon Jr. was like showing off and stuff like that. But then Cody Rhodes literally no sells it and like defeats Pentagon Jr. with a roll up. I was not a fan of this result, Why did Cody need to win here? Why did he need to win? That doesn't make any sense. Like, Cody Rhodes, there's nothing for him to do. There's honestly nothing for him to do. And plus, he's going to be a father. He has a baby, like, coming up. He's going to be a father, so I'm sure that he's going to go away for a little bit. So wouldn't it make sense to give Pentagon Jr. the victory? Like, honestly, like, you had the perfect setup. Like, you already had, like, Pentagon Jr. kayfabing, breaking Cody Rhodes' arm, but then you want to go around and just let Cody Rhodes win? I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of that. Honestly, they shouldn't just give Pentagon Jr. the win because he's going to be on TV more than Cody because, again, Cody Rhodes is going to be a father and he's probably going to take time off trying to, like, take care of the baby a little bit. Okay, so I just don't understand why AEW gave Cody Rhodes the victory tonight. It makes no sense. Okay, personally, they should have gave the victory to Pentagon Jr. to further the story a little bit, but I'm just not a fan of that. They shouldn't give the victory to Cody. It doesn't make any sense to get the victory to Cody Rhodes. Pentagon Jr. had more to gain from beating Cody Rhodes than Cody Rhodes being Pentagon Jr. Okay, it just makes no sense why AEW gave the victory to Cody Rhodes, but I digress. After the matchup, Pentagon Jr. attacked Cody Rhodes. The Nightmare family came out, all of them except for QT Marshall. And of course, they all came for the same save, and Pentagon Jr. escaped from the Nightmare family. And then after that, QT Marshall finally came out, but obviously the damage has already been done. And of course, QT is like the Nightmare family is basically pissed off at QT Marshall. So slowly, QT Marshall is getting more and more healage. So basically, I think we can all assume that QT Marshall is going to be a heel. It's obvious at this point. QT Marshall is going to deflect from the Nightmare family. It's going to be the biggest mistake of his life, and he's going to be a jobber. Because honestly, I don't see QT Marshall doing much in AEW. And, like, not to be mean, because QT Marshall is a good talent. He is a good wrestler. But honestly, QT Marshall being a part of the Nightmare family is the only reason why he even became relevant in the first place. And I think AEW is being extremely risky taking QT Marshall away from the Nightmare family because honestly, I don't see AEW doing much with QT Marshall. Honestly, I see QT Marshall as another jobber for AEW, and that's basically all I got to say on QT Marshall. I just don't see AEW using QT Marshall as like another star. Honestly, I think putting QT Marshall away from the Nightmare family could be the biggest mistake of QT Marshall's career because now he's probably going to be a jobber because I don't see AEW turning QT Marshall into a single star anytime soon. That's just my opinion. So after that, we get an interview with the AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks. And of course, Don Callis comes out, interrupts the Young Bucks. And of course, the Young Bucks still don't like Don Callis. And of course, Don Callis talking a lot of smack. The Young Bucks saying to Don Callis that you corrupted Kenny Omega. And Don Callis is like, yeah, I did corrupt Kenny Omega. And look where he is now. He is a god of professional wrestling. He's on top of the world. And basically, Don Callis is trying to like manipulate the Young Bucks into bringing back the old school New Japan Pro Wrestling Young Bucks. Obviously, it did not work, and Don Callis went on his merry way while the Young Bucks just basically stand by and watch. So there was that. So after that, we get a squash match of Jade Cargill, and like this is basically a Jay Carthill being in action tonight against like a random jobber. Jay Carthill picks up the victory, obviously, because this is a squash match to showcase Jay Carthill. But I'm not gonna lie, Jay Carthill looked really, really good tonight. She's very, very dominant. And if AEW could, oh, sorry, if AEW could play his cards right for Jay Carthill, I think she could be a great asset for the AEW women's division. Like, and personally, in my opinion, I could see Jay Carthill as AEW women's champion this year. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, Jay Carthill looked great tonight. And she put up a good victory tonight against a jobber. So after that, we get probably favorite, my favorite segment of the night, and MJF's promos. Okay, so MJF's group comes out, and holy shit, MJF, like, what do I even have to say about MJF's mic work? He is freaking great on the mic. And he literally reintroduced everyone like Sean Spears, FTR, and Warlow. And oh my God, MJF made Sean Spears, FTR, and Warlow look like $1,000,000. MJF is only like in the 20s. I think he's like 25. And he is the future of professional wrestling. MJF is fucking awesome. And again, he made his new group look like $1,000,000. This promo was absolutely amazing. And if there's anything, and I mean anything, you should rewatch from tonight's show, it's MJF's promo because MJF is so good on the mic. He is just incredible, incredible, incredible on the mic. And again, like he literally like, oh my, again, you like literally me explaining it would not do it any justice. Okay, I recommend you guys watch MJF's promo. Like, he put up an amazing, amazing promo tonight. And again, he made his new group look like $1,000,000. Like, I cannot wait what AEW does with this new group. And personally, I hope this group does a takeover and like literally takes all the titles in AEW. FTR being AEW Tag Team Champions again, Sean Spears becoming the TNT champion, and of course MJF being the AEW champion. I hope MJF becomes AEW champion one day because goddamn he deserves it. Because MJF is just incredible. He is a total package. And like I said, if there's anything, and I mean anything, you should watch from tonight's show, it's MJF's promo. Magnificent. Magnificent. But that's all I got to say on that. So after that, oh, and their new group is called the Pinnacle, which is a very, very, very interesting name. And I like it. It's different, unique. Like, I like the name. So that's basically MJF's new group, the Pinnacle. So, yeah, I'm really excited what AEW is going to do with the rivalry between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. And honestly, like, my prediction is at AEW Double or Nothing. Remember the Blood and Guts match? Like, basically their version of War Games. Remember that we were going to have that last year, but between the Elite and the Inner Circle, but obviously that got canceled because of the coronavirus. But now that we got two factions again between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, we're probably going to get the Blood and Guts match that AEW has been advertising in 2020 at Double or Nothing between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. And if that's the case, I'm excited because I love War Games. War Games is personally one of my favorite matchups of all time. I fucking love War Games. And again, if AEW does this blood and guts war games type matchup between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle at Double or Nothing, then that would be amazing. But in my opinion, but again, that's just me. I digress. So after that, we get a 10-man tag team match at Jurassic Express. All three of them, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt, teaming up with Bear Country against the Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the Butcher and the Blade. And like, honestly, this was just another 10-man tag team match. I wasn't really crazy about it. Like, Matt Hardy and the Hardy Party basically picks up the victory over Jurassic Express and Bear Country. And the only thing to know about this matchup is that Jurassic Express and Bear Country had a bit of a disconnect. And it kind of looks like that in like maybe in a following Dynamite, we're gonna get like a Jurassic Express versus Bear Country match. And honestly, I'm sorry, but I don't really care about a Jurassic Express versus Bear Country type matchup. Like this is I don't know, because here's the thing. Like, my introduction to Bear Country, because I don't watch AEW Dark. I don't. And my first introduction to Bear Country was at AEW Revolution. And don't get me wrong, they were impressive. But honestly, it would make sense if they like give a couple like of squash matches to Bear Country, like trying to build up Bear Country to be another normal tag team in AEW. But like, again, that's just me. I don't really care about this small rivalry between Jurassic Express and Bear Country. But and also, like, I want to quickly talk about the Butcher and the Blade being a part of Matt Hardy's group. Now, if you guys watch my last AEW Dynamite review, I told you that I was not a fan of this at all. Because, like, honestly, the Butcher and the Blade are a really great tag team. And honestly, they should do their own thing. Okay? They don't need, like, a leader like Eddie Kingston or Matt Hardy. Okay? Like, they should do their own thing. Okay? Like, personally, putting the Butcher and the Blade with Matt Hardy's group is just unnecessary. Like, honestly, it's just extremely unnecessary. Just let the Butcher and the Blade do their own thing and let Matt Hardy and Private Party do their own thing. Okay? Because personally, this is just an unnecessary group. Okay? This group shouldn't even exist in the first place. Okay? Let Matt Hardy and Private Party do their own thing and let the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny do their own thing. Okay? But that's just me. That's just me. So after that, we get like a small segment between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Holy shit. I freaking love this segment. This segment was just awesome. It was smart. It was small. It was sweet. Like, you can see like the actual chemistry between both Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, because obviously they're best friends in real life. But you can see that chemistry during this segment. Like, oh, this segment was just beautiful. Okay, it's like they were actually brothers. And honestly, I would love to see them as AEW Tag Team Champions. I think they would be perfect AEW Tag Team Champions. And I know I'm not the only one. A lot of people love this chemistry between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And again, I'm on the bandwagon on this. Like, this is one of the few times where I actually agree with the majority. Okay, I really hope that one day Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston like become AEW Tag Team Champion, because the chemistry is there. Like, every time you see them together, they're like brothers, which is like, I just love the chemistry between those two. Awesome shit between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. So after that, we get an interview of Christian Cage. Christian, at last you're on your own. I should probably stop doing that. But so Christian Cage, he gets interviewed, and like nothing too crazy. Like this is the first time Christian actually speaks in AEW, and I really love how AEW acknowledged that Christian like needs to wrestle and get some victories like before he even gets to Kenny Omega. Because a lot of people in the IWC and don't get and it also me to an extent was kind of worried that AEW was gonna catapult Christian to a like oh my god, I cannot speak today. So the IWC and me to an extent were worried that AEW was going to catapult Christian to an automatic AEW World Championship matchup against Kenny Omega. And like, I'm glad that AEW did not go that route. I am glad that they did not go that route. Like, and I love how they acknowledge that Christian needs to get some wins first before he even gets to Kenny Omega, which I really, really love. And like, if you guys saw my AEW Revolution review, which I recommend you go watch because I definitely worked extremely hard at that. And one of the few videos on this channel where I actually tried a new system called Femora 9. And like this is not a sponsored video. I'm not sponsored by Femora 9, but Femora 9 is actually really good. It's actually a pretty easy editing software if you can get past the fact that you're probably going to have like a watermark on your video. Like all this talk about Femora 9 saying like, oh, everything is like free and it's easy to use. But they don't talk about the fact that you have to pay to get the watermark off your video. Like the free version, by doing it, has the watermark. And you have to literally pay the subscription to get the watermark off your video. Obviously, I wasn't going to pay any of that. And I feel like Femora 9 was kind of scummy for not saying that. But obviously, of course, they're not going to say that during the advertising. But again, that's just me. Like, I might use Femora 9 from here and there, but it's not going to be like an every video thing. Okay, but yeah, enough of me talking about Femora 9. And yeah, that's basically my opinion on Femora 9. If you guys like were like intrigued or like interested on Femora 9, that's basically my opinion on that editing software. So after that, we get a tag team match as Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston went against the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And even before this match started, Gallows and Anderson attacked Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. So it's basically an all-out brawl. Like these men are absolutely beating the living hell out of each other. And I just love it. Like they started off with a brawl, and like honestly, it was this matchup that, so in case you guys don't know, we're basically now on the second hour. This is where it picks up. And personally, I really enjoyed this tag team matchup between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus the Good Brothers. And Moxley and Kingston picks up the victory over the Good Brothers. But then after that, Gallows and Anderson attacked Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston like after the matchup. And they were literally going to like wait, hold on. So yes, Gallows and Anderson attacked like Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, but Kenny Omega came out. I almost forgot that detail. Kenny Omega came out, attacked Moxley, and literally they put Moxley's head like on a chair, and they were literally going to break Jon Moxley's neck. But the Young Bucks actually came out for the save and literally trying to tell Kenny Omega, and Gallows and Anderson to stop this. And like obviously they do, but like Kenny Omega is actually pissed off at the Young Bucks, but they still want them to do the Too Sweet. But this time, the Young Bucks don't do it. And matter of fact, they leave Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson. Like the Young Bucks actually lost respect for Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson. And Kenny Omega was pissed by this, was absolutely livid. And then the Young Bucks was just standing there, and Kenny Omega was just talking shit to the Young Bucks. And then John Moxley gets up, and basically Omega, Gallows, and Anderson retreated. And like honestly, I thought this was a very interesting segment, and and 100% we are definitely going to get the Young Bucks versus Gallows and Anderson sometime in the future for the AEW Tag Team Champions. And you know what? I would not mind seeing this matchup because again, it makes sense. And ever since Gallows and Anderson came to Dynamite, they basically make the Young Bucks' lives a living hell most of the time. So again, yeah, it makes sense. And like they're definitely teasing a Young Bucks versus Gallows and Anderson matchup for the AEW Tag Team titles. And again, I cannot wait for that matchup because I think that's going to be a really good matchup between those four. So there was that. So after that, we get another interview of Sting and Darby Allen. So Sting comes out for another interview, and then Darby Allen comes out. So Darby Allen, as TNT champion, he said basically that he won this championship back in November of 2020, back in Full Gear, and he only defended this championship 3 times. So he decided to do open challenges again, starting with a member of the Dark Order. Now, this Dark Order member ended up being John Silver, and holy shit. Guys, Darby Allen versus John Silver for the TNT Championship. Yo, this could be John Silver's big break right here. Like, this is John Silver's biggest opportunity yet. Like, honestly, I cannot wait for this matchup next week. And yes, this matchup is happening next week between Darby Allen and John Silver. Like, both men are absolutely going to kill it. And I'm going to say a strong prediction here that this matchup is going to be match of the year. It's going to be a match of the year candidate. Okay, because both Darby and Silver, like they have the potential to like pull up a match of a year candidate. Like both men are absolutely gonna kill it next week, and I cannot wait for that matchup. So after that, Lance Archer comes out and he talks crap. He basically talks his shit to Darby Allen and Sting, teasing up a rivalry for Sting and Lance Archer. And it looked like they're also teasing a Darby Allen versus Lance Archer match for the TNT Championship. But basically, they're probably also building up a Sting versus Lance Archer match. So Lance Archer talks his shit and he leaves. And then all of a sudden, Team Taz comes out and the most interesting thing happens. Like literally, Brian Cage takes the microphone away from Taz and literally says to Sting that he respects the hell out of him. And like the rest of Team Taz is shocked and pissed off at this. So it looks like AEW is teasing a breakup of some sort as Brian Cage is defecting off of Team Taz and Brian Cage going like basically teasing Brian Cage having like a single babyface run, which honestly I am definitely a fan of, because here's the thing. Like Brian Cage was a really great asset for Team Taz. And don't get me wrong, I love Team Taz, but I feel like Team Taz was holding Brian Cage back. Because honestly, Brian Cage has the potential to be the Brock Lesnar of AEW. Okay, because he's a freak of nature. He is a beast. Okay, he is a machine. Okay, and again, don't get me wrong. Like, Brian Cage was a major asset for Team Taz, and I love Team Taz. But I feel like this could be a great thing for Brian Cage. So that way he could climb up that ladder. And I'm not saying that Team Taz was like bringing Brian Cage down, but I feel like Brian Cage was like stalling because Brian Cage like is world championship material. And I feel like that I Brian Cage was not like, I'm not saying his career was like going down a wrong path, but like I feel like he was not going nowhere. I feel like he was on autopilot with Team Taz. And I feel like Brian, as much as I love Team Taz, like I feel like Brian Cage, like splitting up from Team Taz, could give Brian Cage some direction and literally have Brian Cage like literally build Brian Cage up to be like a basically another main event star, basically. But that's my opinion. But personally, I think this is a great. If this is true, personally, I think this could be a good thing for Brian Cage splitting up from T Taz and actually have like a babyface single run. Like I would honestly like that. And for all the people that are doubting, like, oh, Brian Cage as like a baby face main eventer, it's not gonna work. Well, watch some of Cage's work back in Impact Wrestling, okay? Because he was a main event babyface player in Impact Wrestling, and he was perfectly fine. Like he was perfectly fine as a babyface. But that's just me. I digress. So after that, we get a vignette of Scorpio Sky, and again, like he's getting like more cocky. He's basically now a cocky, like arrogant kind of heel type character. And like basically this vignette is like showing that Scorpio Sky is tired of being on the sidelines. Like soon, like he's gonna be like a champion, and soon people are gonna talk about Scorpio Sky. And honestly, I think this is a great direction for Scorpio Sky. And it makes sense storyline wise, because if you really think about it, despite all his talents, Scorpio Sky has been on the sidelines for a very long time. And as most of his we haven't seen him on TV in a very long time, partially because he's been out for an injury. But even before that, 90% of his matches was in AEW Dark. 90% of his singles matches was in AEW Dark. Okay, basically he was on the sidelines. And so the fact that he's being the heel and like taking the matters into his own hands, like it's a really great direction for Scorpio Sky, and it definitely makes sense storyline wise. So there is that. Then after that, we get just a normal matchup between Ray Felix and Angelico of the Hybrid 2. And I thought this was a good match. I really thought this was a good match. And like one thing just came up. Like, you know, Matt Hardy and his group, like Matt Hardy, Private Party, like, wasn't the Hybrid 2 with them for a little bit? Like, so wouldn't it make sense for the Hybrid 2 being a part of Matt Hardy's faction instead of the Butcher and the Blade? Like, again, I don't understand why they had to put the Butcher and the Blade with Matt Hardy and his faction. Okay. If anything, the Hybrid 2 should be a part of the faction because it makes more sense, not the Butcher and the Blade. But that's just me. That's just a small rant by me. It's it's one thing that I'm not a fan of in AEW. Don't get me wrong. I love AEW. It's definitely one of my favorite shows. Scratch that. It's my definitely my favorite show in professional wrestling right now. But even then, nothing's perfect. AEW has some flaws, okay, and it needs to be addressed. And again, I don't understand why the Butcher and the Blade has to be with Matt Hardy, with Matt Hardy's faction. Like, if anything, the Hybrid 2 should be a part of Matt Hardy's faction, not the Butcher and the Blade. They should do their own thing. But that's just me. I digress. So after that, we get an interview with Miro. And Miro, we're seeing more of a disconnect between Miro and Kip Sabian, which is good. Which is really, really good. And like Miro basically he basically talked to Kip Sabian about this review. And he basically said that when it comes to being in look, me and you are friends, but when it comes to being in that ring, it is business time, okay? And you are not gonna get in my way of my matches, okay? This is my destiny, and I'm here to be world champion. So I really, really like that, and it looks like there's more of a disconnect between Miro and Kip Sabian, which is good because honestly, Miro should stay away from Kip Sabian. Okay, Kip Sabian is holding Miro back. Okay, and it's not like a situation where Brian Cage and Ricky Starks is another name, both great talents that are in autopilot because of Team Taz. With Kip Sabian and Miro, Kip Sabian is bringing Miro down. And again, we all know that Miro has the potential to be a main event star in AEW. But right now, we're not getting that feel because of Kip Sabian and this storyline with the best friends. This rivalry needs to end, and Miro needs to stay away from Kip Sabian. Okay, so we're getting in the right direction because again, we're seeing a disconnect between Miro and Kip Sabian. So there's that. So before we get to our main event, which is a section of the video in and of itself, we got to talk about next week's matches. So next week, we get Ty Conti versus Nyla Rose. We get Sean Spears and FTR going against the Vaughn City Blondes and Dante Martin of Top Flight. We get Darby Allen versus John Silver for the TNT Championship, which I am extremely excited about. And Kenny Omega versus Matt Sydal next week, which I'm also extremely excited about. I think that's going to be a great match between Kenny Omega and Matt Sydal. So definitely a stacked card next week. So now we get to our main event, our first female main event in AEW history. And of course, also the first AEW Lights Out non-sanctioned match in AEW history. And holy shit! Woo! This was one hell of a match. And if you guys seen my AEW reviews, you guys know I am a sucker for hardcore wrestling. And these ladies absolutely killed it. This is honestly match of the year. And there's honestly going into this matchup, I wasn't as excited, but oh my god, these ladies went all out. This was a great ending to a great rivalry between Britt Baker and Thunder Rose. Both ladies absolutely killed each other. And to make matters better, I shit you not, both ladies were bleeding. Again, I could be wrong, and I'm sure some other people from other countries and maybe some other companies let their women bleed during their street fights. But honestly, this was the very first time I have seen ladies bleed during a street fight. I never seen I never see WWE do that. I never see Impact do that. Like, I don't think Stardom does it, but then again, I don't watch much Stardom. But this was honestly the very first time I seen two ladies like literally bleed during a street fight. And my God, was it brutal. Like, Britt Baker had it the worst. Like, she was fucking bleeding. Like, it was insane. Like, she was losing a lot of blood. And they went all out. Like, Thunder Rosa did like a Death Valley driver to Britt Baker onto the ladder. They brought freaking thumbtack. Britt Baker literally got power bomb to thumbtacks. Okay? And she continued the matchup with thumbtacks on her back. Okay, this is on, like, personally, so far, this is without a doubt, so far in the history of AEW, the greatest women's matchup, like, probably one of the greatest AEW women's matchup of in AEW history. Like, both ladies should be extremely proud of themselves. Like, both ladies absolutely killed it. Thunder Rosa picks up the victory over Britt Baker after putting her through a freaking table. And this was after Britt Baker had freaking thumbtacks on her back. Like, Britt Baker was fucked up during this matchup. Yes, she still fought throughout the pain. Britt Baker is a freaking real one. Britt Baker, you have earned my respect. Obviously, I respected Britt Baker, and I actually love Britt Baker, but like, my respect has gone through the roof at this point after tonight. Like, Britt Baker, and especially Thunder Rosa too. Thunder Rosa absolutely kicked ass tonight. Both ladies should be extremely proud of themselves. Like the ladies had time. Like, this was the very first female main event for AEW, and they did not disappoint. They showed that the women can main event an AEW show, and both ladies should be extremely, and I mean extremely, proud of themselves. This was a brutal match. This was an amazing match, and this was a match of the year caliber match. And again, if there's anything you should go back and watch within this show, it's the MJF promo and this entire matchup between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, because both ladies absolutely killed it. Okay. And again, you guys might not be a fan of this show tonight, but you cannot deny that the MJF promo and this entire matchup was definitely the highlights of tonight's show. And again, Rosa and Baker absolutely killed them. Both ladies absolutely deserved my respect. 110%. 110%. And honestly, that's all I got to say. This was an incredible matchup and a match of the year caliber. And again, if you guys have not seen tonight's show, I recommend you do so, because this was an incredible match. Incredible. But that's basically the entire show tonight. This was a good show. Like, I won't say that this was like a great show or you should like go back and watch it, except for the MJF promo and the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match, because those were freaking amazing. But everything else is just normal AEW stuff, and it's just AEW being AEW. And honestly, in my opinion, this was a really good show, a very, very good show by AEW, followed by an amazing main event between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. Did you guys love tonight's show? Did you guys not like tonight's show? Was there something you like? Was there something you hate? I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. And again, my only rule on this channel is to not be assholes in the comment section. Okay? And don't be afraid to say your opinion. If you guys have a different opinion, or if you're in the minority, then speak out. Okay? And if someone has a different opinion in the comment section, please try not to be assholes, okay? I want everyone to be civilized in the comments section. It doesn't matter what opinion we have. Okay, but other than that, I hope you guys enjoy my review, and thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this is Gabriel, and I'll see you next time in the asylum. Have a nice night, everyone.